Okay, now. Don't know why it's looking so weird right now, but well, welcome back to the Matura Express. My name is Timna, and today we're going to do some exams. We're having some technical difficulties today. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if you've seen, but well, we'll still just carry on. So today we're going to talk about communication and do 2 oral exams for you to see. So let's just jump right in and look at the first oral exam task that we're going to do today. Maybe we can have the piece. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Okay, you can't. Let me just make that so that you can see it better. Maybe. Like that. Okay. Nope. No. Okay, I hope you can see that well, So, let's adjust that a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, so the first task we're going to look at today is about modern communication methods. With your usual introduction, which is you will be asked some questions about your career, future plans, etc. With task 1, social media and communication. And the situation is you work as a social media manager for a big company. You have been asked to hold a presentation in front of your colleagues, who are the examiners, about the modern methods of communication. So, as we talked about last time, who are you? You are a social media manager, and you have been asked to hold a presentation. Is that the correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I think I brought the wrong version today, so if there's... right, okay. So, thank you. Yeah. There's a bit of a different version that we're actually going to do today, because I, fool that I am, brought the wrong one to hold a presentation for new apprentices in your company, so thank you.
Welcome.
For new in your company about the modern methods of communication. Yeah, exactly. So, as I said, you are a social media manager, and you're holding a presentation in front for new apprentices. So you're talking to people who don't really know a lot about this topic, so you kind of have to describe it to them. About the modern methods of communication. And your task is to give your colleagues an insight into the advantages and disadvantages of modern communication methods. Talk about how communication has changed over the years, the positive and negative impacts social media and the internet have on modern communication, and what communication could evolve into in the future. Now, if you've done your first part, you can move on to task 2, which is actually called social media and business. Okay. So after your presentation, you answer questions from your colleagues have about the advantages of social media for businesses. Here's the information from the text benefits of social media for businesses, as well as your own ideas. And then just a follow-up discussion, same as always, where you just continue with the discussion a bit more. So the link, so this is a text that you have here for task 2. I'm just going to scroll through, and at the end there, yeah, so that would be the link you can type in to your browser if you want to have the text and have a look at it and maybe try this exam task at home. And we are now going to demo you this exam, my colleague and I. Yeah. So as I said, today we have in a bit of a weird kind of situation here, but oh well, whatever. Okay, so are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Very well, then let's start. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes. Hello, my name is Katrin and I'm a kindergarten assistant.
Oh, wow.
I currently am working in a small kindergarten and I assist the other kindergarten teachers in their daily routine. And for my future, I plan to take successfully my Matura exams and then go on to university and study some courses in education.
Oh, that's interesting. And why did you decide to go to uni?
Because I think being an assistant is a very fine job, but I think for my future plans I would like to do some more, be a bit more ambitious, and then that is why I want to go to the university.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. So whenever you're ready, just move on to task 1.
Okay, so imagine you did not have to use a device in order to transmit your thoughts to your computer. How comfortable would that be? How convenient would that be in your everyday life? So let's see whether this is future music or not. Let's start in the 18th century. In the 19th century, where we first started sending letters to communicate with each other, not the neighbor, but maybe relatives. And then in the next century, we already had the telephone, and that was crazy for that times. And then in the 1970s, the first mobile was invented. After that, it was the texts, and then surprisingly, in 2007, the first iPhone was invented with new text and a camera and a touch screen, and that was really new at that times. So it had a real big impact on our communication, because it went from letters, from writing to typing to not calling and using your voice anymore. So what has changed a lot is that you have less face-to-face communication and interaction, unless you use Skype or FaceTime, but that's, if you look at statistics, not that common anymore. So you really tend to use social media for communication nowadays more, because they make digital messages more personal. They you can add like little smileys, little dancing bears or whatever, that underlines what you're telling somebody in between the lines. What usually used to do your tone, your mimic, your gestures, that is not there anymore. And then also when using communication in over or via social media, you have an inside perspective of different places. You're like going with someone somewhere and seeing what they are doing, what they are seeing, even if they're doing it right, what they're feeling about this place. And so this makes communication more even broader. Yeah, you can see describing is something different what you used to do over the telephone before, so now you can see it. And one downside may be that if you have friends that post all the time where they've gone, what kind of cool stuff they did, then it creates a sense of urgency that you need to share, you need to post. But that is more of a probably a personal problem for people. And then, so as I said in my introduction, maybe when we think this further, it could well be true that that you can send in the future your thoughts to a computer interface, and that would be so much more convenient, because you wouldn't have to type in anymore, speak into your phone, but you could just think and then transfer it. So that is really what the communication developers and social media developers are onto right now.
All right.
So do you have any further questions?
Well, that was a very interesting talk. You talked a lot about smartphones and the positive sides of the smartphones. So how would you actually think all those kind of new technologies and social media and so on does benefit businesses?
Well, see, if you have, we tend to have our smartphones with us all the time, and we check our social media platforms all the time, and that is a really great channel for your business to place advertisement and then reach a great mass of people, so that with a low cost you can reach so many different people, because it's not like who uses social media platforms is not really limited to one particular groups. It's not only the millennials but also their parents nowadays. So that is real.
So you can reach out to a lot of different kinds of people.
It's not as expensive anymore as it used to be before, when you had to put posters up anywhere or place like a huge TV commercial. And then also there are the social bots that can people redirect towards your website or towards your product, or kind of influence people.
See, that's where I feel like that's kind of creepy, doesn't it? For me as a consumer, if I feel like, okay, there's somebody like directing me to a certain website, or like unconsciously having me do something or buy something, that's, as a consumer, that can be a bit daunting, can't it?
But me as a social media manager, I see it very positive, because it saves you time. Like your smartphone or your search engine or your apps are kind of learning apps, so they remember what you typed in, and then they kind of conveniently put you in that direction, because you would go there anyway. They just save you time. So I think it's a positive aspect of this development, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Now I have a lot of more information for my new apprenticeship, and I will go into this time very, very interested. And thank you very much for this.
Yes, I hope you will have a good time at our company.
Thank you. I hope so too. All right. So that's the end of our first exam. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now maybe let's just talk it through for a bit. So Katrin stayed very well in her role, as you saw, of course. She did a really good job of that. She also had a very creative introduction, as we talked about last time. So she kind of told us a story and kind of got our my attention by including us and taking our hand and just painting a very nice picture, basically. And as I said, she talked about all the points. She stayed in her role very nicely, and generally she talked very professionally and provided a lot of good information, especially for the apprentices. So also in a language that was very appropriate. All right, so let's now move on to our second exam. Let's go through that again. Can you see that? maybe like that. So, our second exam is about the benefits of reading. Here we have, again, the same introduction as always. You will be asked some questions about your career, future plans, etc. And then task 1 is paper versus ebooks. Can I borrow that, actually? Thank you. So here again we have a bit of a different version that we're actually going to do. Okay, so in the situation, you are a big fan of reading and you need to prepare a presentation topic for school. So you decided to inform your classmates, who are the examiners, about conventional books versus ebooks. Okay, so you are basically yourself, you're a student and a big fan of reading, and you prepare a presentation topic for school, so for your classmates, about conventional books and ebooks. So you're comparing ebooks and conventional books. That's also what it says in your tasks, and then talk about the benefits of reading in general, the advantages and disadvantages of conventional books and ebooks, and then we have your personal opinion on whether conventional books or ebooks are the better option for students. So on whether for students. All right. So you basically just give your opinion about that, and then you go into task 2, which is called Getting into Reading. So after your presentation, you open up the discussion to your classmates. You discuss how. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. You discuss how people who don't like reading could get more interested. Use information from the text how to get into reading a book, as well as your own ideas. And then same again with the follow-up discussion. So here, of course, it depends on whether you yourself really are a reader or not. Maybe you have some more ideas or not so many. But for that, you have this text here that you can read through. Again, you have a link down there to the text that you can type into your browser if you wanna have a look at it. Here it is again. And yeah, I think we can start now again. Or continue. Hello again.
Hello.
Welcome back. Would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm happy to. I'm Katrin. I'm a mechanic.
Oh, wow.
I work at a small garage in Innsbruck, and I would like to, at some point in the future, maybe open up my own garage and even maybe train some young people to become mechanics, but I'm not quite sure yet.
Interesting. And actually, a bit of a different question. How do you feel as a female mechanic? I'm sure you have a lot of male colleagues.
It's tough. First of all, I mean, the first tough thing is that like overalls that you wear in the garage, they usually only men's size. So that's the first hurdle to overcome. But then, yes, they are just, they do boy stuff and they say boy stuff. But if you kind of get deaf on that or ear, then it's okay. Yes.
Right.
But I do have nice colleagues. Yes. So I like working there, yes.
Very interesting. And so you said in your future you're not quite sure yet what you want to do.
Yes, because I'm not sure if I want to take on all that responsibility that comes with being self-employed and with having responsibility for employees. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm 20 now, so I still have time to have a look at that.
Still having a go at the A levels.
Excuse me.
No
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. It's very interesting. So whenever you're ready, just start.
Okay, so classmates, today I would like to talk about reading. And did you know that people in India spend more than 10 hours a week reading books?
Wow.
Yes. So, and why do they do that? Because reading has a lot of benefits. Firstly, it exercises your brain in many different ways, like memory and language skills. It improves your vocabulary because you just read words. And then it also teaches you about the world around you, because in books, the characters tell you about how they see the world, and so you learn a bit more about the world. And that is also why children should read books, or get their parents to read them books, because it teaches them also empathy, and it teaches them rules and how people think the world should work. So in the past few years, ebooks have become more popular, and I also want to point out advantages and disadvantages for conventional books and ebooks. So first thing is that ebooks are very much practical. So it's a very little reader, and you can have an entire library with you. Wherever you go, whenever you go, you just have it all packed in. And that is the disadvantage of conventional books. I mean, how many books can you put in your backpack before it hurts your back? So that is a really downside to it. But studies have said that conventional books and like turning the page and knowing where in the book you are helps or trains your memory way better than ebooks can. So this is about like the haptic of like, as I said, turning the pages. Also there are an advantage for ebooks is also that it is more like a smartphone that people or that young readers are used to. So they are more likely to take on this motivation they have when using smartphone and transfer it to using an e-reader instead of using a conventional book. Yes, but one big danger is there for ebooks, the one of visual fatigue, that just being in front of the screen can really make you tired and have a downside on your eyes, so, and on your vision. But on the other hand, conventional books are also more expensive than just downloading an ebook, so it's really balanced between those two. And I find that in school we should have e-readers, because then for every subject we would only have the small thing, the small reader, and you can take it with you. And I bet none of us would forget the physics book or the biology book, because we wouldn't have to carry heavy books, and every day we'd have every book with us. But I think for reading literature, like in English or Spanish or German, I think we should stick to conventional books, because literature is also about feeling the book and turning the pages and knowing where in the book happens what and how much space is left for development. So yes, but how about you? How do you feel about this?
Yes, I think
topic?
That's a very interesting approach, as you said, about the touching and feeling the book and knowing where you are. I think that's something I actually quite agree with, although I do have an e-reader at home actually, and I use it quite a lot, just because it's so practical and because you can take it everywhere. And if I'm on holiday, because that's where I read the most, and I'm reading and I don't have anything to read anymore, I can just, buy something new. That's quite easy, but then again, you do kind of miss that, especially the smell of a book, right?
Yes, that's what most people say. And I also, what I miss with an e-reader is that when you, let's say it's 11 at night, and then you you should go to sleep, but you want to read this plot a bit more. And then with an e-reader, I don't have the feeling like when it stops or when the next chapter starts, but with the conventional book I can just look it up. And then if I see, okay, it's only that much left, and then the book is through, I read it through, then I see, okay, I can do that, I can do that. And so it's a bit more motivation in that sense. But for carrying it, traveling, when you're on the bus, I think nothing competes with the ebook.
Definitely.
So yes.
Yeah. So I feel like there are a lot of people, especially students, who don't like reading very much, and that's quite a shame, isn't it? So,
it is, yes, because reading it is so much more than just sitting down and staring at words. But what you should do is start with, if you're not a very good reader, then start with reading something that interests you really much. And so, and I mean, there are great apps for your smartphone. Also, for instance, Wattpad, where you can really choose from so many different genres, and you can search for the one you like, and then you can actually also communicate with the author, which might boost your motivation, because you can actually say, oh, I don't like that, or that doesn't make sense, or I found that part really great, tell me how it's going to go on, and then he or she might answer you. So I think that's a really great motivation for readers, for reluctant readers. Yes.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Sounds like an interesting idea, because I think there's a lot of students that kind of are missing all the benefits that reading provides, right?
Yes. Also, I mean, and also reading doesn't have. I mean, it has long-term benefits that usually people maybe do not see, or students do not see right at this moment. But if you read, it enhances your memory, it enhances your vocabulary, and you need those two skills in so many situations, for your further education, for arguing, for debating, for solving problems. Yes, so it really is not just sitting down and reading boring stuff, but it's just like training yourself for the future, enhancing your knowledge, getting your brain activated. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for this lovely discussion.
Thank you.
So this is the end of our second exam today. Just to sum up, again, Katrin had a very lovely introduction, very creative. She used the question to get our attention, and then she also had a very nice structure to her task one. She always told us where exactly she was at that moment. So she said now that she was going to talk about the advantages of conventional books and so on and so forth. So that's really a very, very important and clever thing to do, so that your examiners know exactly where you are and that you have structured your speech in your mind. And yeah, what else? She talked about everything she had to. She was very creative, had a lot of opinions of her own, and that's it basically. Now, if you have any questions about these topics, or in general about the introduction of task one, or about any task in the oral exam, then don't hesitate to comment in the live chat, or comment down below under the video when we uploaded it. And then also, yeah, again, maybe check out the previous stream or video we did about communication and about the introduction of task 1. And next week, Katrin will again talk to you about something theoretical. So tune in for that. That will be very interesting. And yeah, other than that, I hope you'll have a nice evening and I'll see you next time. Bye.